Okay, here we go. My first slide. So I'm the national manager of Shared Parenting Scotland, which is a charity which supports separated parents. We have a helpline, we have group meetings, we publish information, but we also provide training, and that's what I'm going to talk about. The program mentions Jeff Chang as being my co-presenter. He is in Canada. He is busy with other things, including doing the evaluation of our training, but he is an important component. So my paper is talking about the question, can early training move separated parents towards shared parenting or towards successful shared parenting? So training programs for separating parents are well established in various countries, including some where they're compulsory and some voluntary. There have been some research studies done to find out whether such training can work. And if you are considering training for for separated parents, there's still a lack of published research on how effective and what types of training work. And there are all sorts of questions you need to ask. You need to ask, should it be compulsory training, or can you leave it to people to come along of their own accord? Should the parents do it together or apart? Can it be effective if there is high conflict or domestic abuse? Should it be face-to-face training, or can online training work? Should it be linked to wider support or coaching, i.e. should it be more than just training? Should the training include the children as well as the parents? And can we link it to other processes like family mediation? And how long should the learning last? Now, these are all the sorts of questions that one could ask. In the training program that I'm going to talk about just now, I would hope that we've considered these questions and have adopted what we feel is the most productive approach. First, let me set the scene. Scotland is, although not an independent country, it has its own courts, its own laws, and its own processes. So it is different from England and Wales, even although we're all part of the one country and we're all under the one king at the moment. Our family law was updated in 2020, but we still have family courts that are slow, expensive, and adversarial. So we feel that the family court, although it may still be the answer for some people, we definitely want to do more for people, because a slow process is really damaging both to children and to parents. Some parents in Scotland use family mediation, and that is certainly part of the answer. The only training program in Scotland that we have is Parenting Apart, which also came from America. And these sessions are either face-to-face or delivered online, really one session of, say, 3 hours for parents. And it's a good start, but it is a limited amount of training. In England and Wales, there is a similar problem with family courts that are under severe pressure, long delays, and they're currently considering whether mediation in England and Wales should be compulsory. The Children and Family Courts Advisory and Support Service, which is the body that works with the family courts, they have just launched a new training program for separated parents. But as I said, that is in England and Wales, not in Scotland. The training that I'm going to be talking about, we have been piloting it since the start of last year. It's called New Ways for Families. It was developed in the USA and by the High Conflict Institute. And these are Bill and Megan are the two key people in the High Conflict Institute. So the training was developed specifically for high conflict separations in which one or both parents have high conflict personalities. And this makes it far more difficult for them to agree on shared parenting. And it also risks passing these on to the children or simply damaging the children because of the conflict that continues after the separation. And the sorts of things that characterize these are the all or nothing thinking, unmanaged emotions, extreme behaviors, preoccupation with one or more targets of blame. We've heard a lot about these things today. It was originally used in the courts in San Diego in the USA in 2008. So the program itself has been on the go for a reasonably long time. And since then, it is being used across the USA, it's being used in Canada, it's being used in Australia. We started discussion with them a few years ago, and we started our pilot in Scotland last year. As far as I know, that's the only place that New Ways for Families is being used in Europe, although obviously you could, because a lot of the training is online, you could log in to the online program that is available within the USA. The format of the training is a series of 12 online modules, and these are reinforced by one-to-one coaching sessions, and the coaching takes place after the first module, the fourth module, and at the end of the program, after the 12 modules. What I'm going to do, I'm actually going to skip through some of this because the leaflet, which I've laid out at the back of the room, and I've plenty of copies of this, gives you more details about the training. So I'm going to just go very briefly over what it's about, and then move on to our pilot and what we're finding so far. So the training helps people to manage their conflicts, to negotiate decisions, tries to promote respectful communication, encourage them at times of stress, and help them in their co-parenting. Four key skills are taught, and these are actually the first 4 sessions of the training are dealing with these particular skills: managed emotions, flexible thinking, moderate behaviors, and checking yourself, i.e., don't just jump into things. Be aware that your first thoughts are not necessarily the best things to do. One of the workshops in the last session was very much about these sort of things. The online modules cover a whole range of different issues, including things like what happens when there's a new partner, financial issues, domestic violence, and really a lot of it about what the impact is on children. But again, the list of these things and more information about these topics is in the leaflet. The coaching sessions, I feel, are the most important part of the training, and they're also hopefully what makes the training really work. Because just watching online training modules, some people will get a lot from them, but all you're doing is passively watching. The coaching sessions will be probably up to about an hour and a half. The coaches are professionals themselves. All the coaches we've recruited in Scotland, they're either family lawyers, social workers, mediators, or got other sort of work with families. And we're not using these particular skills when they're coaching, but what we are doing is we're getting people who understand what happens in separated families. And the role of the coach in this training is to help people practice the skills that they're learning and to make sure that the training is actually being understood. And I think the coaches we train the coaches ourselves, and we tell them, even though you're a family lawyer, if your learner asks you questions about the law, you say, I can't answer that. Go back to the Shared Parenting Scotland organisation and they'll talk to you. So the coaches have got to focus on the training. It's difficult because people who are in the situation of separation, they're going through all sorts of stress. They want to talk to somebody who understands, who knows, but it's focusing them back all the time on the online training. And I feel online training plus coaching is a really powerful way of reaching people. It also means we can deliver the training to people in any part of Scotland. We don't have to have sessions in the main cities and people have to travel. It can happen, the online training, people can go through the training at the pace they want. So that is, and two key skills are in the training. Again, I won't talk very much about it. BIF, which there's a book here about it. BIF is a technique. It sounds bad because it sounds as if it's about hitting people, but it's not. It's about keeping your communications brief, informative, friendly, and firm. Everybody needs this training because it's not just about talking to your ex-partner. It's about talking to your work colleagues. It's about talking to your friends. And it's about not trying to control the communication, and particularly nowadays, because communication is fast and immediate through text and WhatsApp and social media and Facebook. And people tend to say things quickly and then regret them later. So understanding BIF is great. The second technique, again, it's got a strange title. It's called EAR, but that's standing for empathy, attention, and respect. And it's trying to give people the ideas that these are the sort of things that you can do when it's difficult to communicate with people. You've got to show the other person that you're empathetic towards them, that you're listening to them, and that you respect them, even if you're disagreeing with what your communication is. Having said that, I haven't given you the outline of the training. Here we have some information about previous evaluations. Medicine Hat in Canada, the evaluation was done not of the online module, but of classroom teaching, but including coaching. And they found there that out of the 186 families who they trained, 130 completed the program, 68 cases were resolved outside of court. I think that it may be not a large number, but any parents that you can keep out of court, or even if they have to go to court, if it's only about minor things rather than a battle that will last months and cost hundreds of thousands of pounds in court. They also did a social return on investment analysis of the Canadian training. They found that for every dollar that was invested in mounting the program, you got approximately $8.95 in social return. And this was split between benefits to the parents and children, which were costed at 51%, benefits to the courts, i.e. savings in court time, 45%, and savings in other services like social work, 6%. So that's more tangible figures from that study. The only other study that's been done was in Orange County in California, in which case this was with the online learners. And you can see from the blue and the red portions, two questions. Firstly, did the class improve your relationship with your co-parent? And you got a significant number of people said either yes or somewhat. And did the class improve your relationship with your children? And again, 61% said yes, 20% said somewhat. And one of the workshops early on today was talking about a similar assessment of training and how it affects your relationship, not only with your ex-partner, but with your children. We have been studying the pilot. We have put about 50 parents through the pilot in the last year. We issued various surveys, forms, both before and after the training to the parents. We also conducted interviews and group discussions, both with the parents who are doing the training and with the coaches. And I can tell you a few items of what we found. The full evaluation is due to be finished off this month. And that's one of the reasons why Jeff isn't here, because he's doing the evaluation in Canada. And I think he's probably very busy with analyzing our results. So on our website, which you'll get the link at the end, we'll give you the full results. But just before the training, people commented, they said, I found it extremely difficult to work with my ex-partner, and attempts with therapists as parenting support workers had failed. I'm hoping this course will help me in many ways. Also, the second comment, after 3.5 years of hell and huge legal costs, I finally welcome this. We're reaching the high conflict parents in our training, definitely, because these are the people who come to us anyway, to our helpline. This was just a word cloud that was done from some of the comments that people made when they were embarking on the training. And you can see, obviously, they even start off with putting children as the biggest issue, but all the other things that were going on. And after they'd done the training, two comments. Somebody liked it being online because it allowed him to complete the modules when it suited his lifestyle. The second comment, I learned some really useful techniques and tips which will help me with what I'm going through. And the third comment was very positive about the coach. The coach was beyond excellent, experienced, patient, knowledgeable. The sessions really changed how I relate to my ex-partner and his relationships with our child. Unfortunately, during our pilot, we only managed to do a few training sessions with couples. Mainly it was with individuals out of a separation. But we hope that once we do more, we will reach both couples, both parents in the separation. As I said, we'll publish our evaluation report in May, sometime later on this month, just as well, because I've got a session on the 24th of the month where we're going to promote it in the Parliament, in the Scottish Parliament. So I'll have to have some results by then. The main thing is that we want to persuade sheriffs. Now, in Scotland, we call our judges sheriffs, just to make things a bit different. They don't have guns and they don't shoot people, but but we want to persuade them to order both parents to go to the training, hopefully before they've been in court. And that will be, we need the research evidence from the evaluation to convince the sheriffs that it's going to be good. We also want to get lawyers and mediators to send their clients to us. We're not taking their clients away. Their clients will still need some law and they may well need mediation to get their agreements, but hopefully it'll put them in a better frame of mind. We're going to be doing follow-up work because we know that just our immediate results are only relating to what's happened in, maybe a few months after the training. So we'll keep in touch with people and give follow-up questions. In Scotland, the legislation that I mentioned, which was passed in 2020, included a pilot of pre-court ADR sessions, alternative dispute resolution sessions, to be mandatory to people who are going to court. This pilot hasn't started yet. Hopefully it'll start sometime this year or next year, and that will be a great way, again, to reach people on the training. And the other thing, the way that we're going to reach people, apart from just publicizing it through social media and through other organizations, we feel that employee assistance programs will also be a really good route, because there's already a campaign in the UK to make employers pay attention to divorced and separated parents, to give them more support, because it will disrupt their work. It means that they're going through stress. And we hope that we can plug into that and have big employers send people, or give people information about the training. So that is a sort of whistle-stop tour through what we've been doing. And as I said, we'll allow one question per one question per session. Are there any immediate questions people want to ask before we move to our next speaker?